Natasha, and thank you so much for joining me today. Well, today I'm going to have a really easy card for you. Now, I am just in the season of life at the minute where I'm having to do some quicker cards. I am needing a lot of cards at the moment, or family are perhaps needing a lot of cards. So I'm creating a lot, and sometimes I have more time and sometimes I have less time, and so this is just one of those gorgeous easy layouts. Now I'm actually going to make quite a few cards for you today to show you that no matter what you have, there are lots of different versions. Now we do need some masking tape for today. I don't have strips wide enough. I'm using the Masking Magic from Gina Sheets. The strips that she has, which are fantastic, I want them to be a little bit wider. I'm making each one of these 3/4 of an inch. So I'm cutting my own out of the sheets. You could use some mint tape. I quite like these Masking Magic ones because I just reuse them over and over again. They are very, very strong and can hold up to a lot of ink on top of them, and more importantly lots of water in those kinds of techniques, but nonetheless that's not what we're using today. I am going to be using I have 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch card fronts out ready to go. I'm actually just tearing one of these sheets in half, and then I'm laying the masking strip so that it is joint. Once I add some ink, you'll be able to see this really clearly. Now, as for ink, I will tell you 2 things about today's video. One, use whatever ink you have. If you have pigment inks, use those. If you have hybrid inks, use those. If you have dye inks, use those. If you have watercolors, use those. If you have, just use what you have. I am not even getting out ink pads in some of these cases. I'm just trying to use what's already left on the brush. But these I call low blend cards, and I'm sure there's probably a proper name. This one here, the very first one I'm showing you, I'm going to show you because it's actually too dark. This is not what I want at all. So we all have to experiment and try things out. Sometimes I get the beauty of being able to edit those out so that you can't see them, or I just try them off camera, and that means that, you know, I'm not using your time to explain what I did or didn't do. I can show you in a much more quick fashion, and that is just, you know, one of the beauties of editing again. But I did want to show you this one because I really want to go low blend, so really light. And when I say blend, I use that term very lightly because this is really, really quick. I am not working hard for a perfect blend at all. So you can see the one on the left, I had dipped it into my ink pad, the orange or the red. I think it's Abandoned Coral Oxide ink, but actually it just had way too much color on there for what I want. Now, by all means, can I still use it? Absolutely. I'm going to show you. I will use it. If I wanted to lighten it, I could definitely spritz it with water, and that would soak up some of the colors. There are options, but the second thing I would tell you about today's video is that pretty much every single one of the stamps I have used is discontinued and not available anymore. And I know that is frustrating for some, but actually this whole channel is about using what you have, and it's about using what you have in your stash. So go to, I know you've got something. I can see it there. It's hiding and it needs used. So go and grab it out. I'm using the Layered Bird stamp set from Sizzix. And you may have this one. It was really popular. Again, I can't find it at the moment. You might be able to pick it up secondhand as well. Now you'll notice here that I actually inked this up with some Versamark sticky embossing ink before I inked it up with colour. That is because stamping with oxides, for me at least, never gives me a great impression. And so one of the ways that I can combat that, except for using a different type of ink, is to first coat it in some Versamark sticky embossing ink, and then I ink it up with a gorgeous ink. So this is actually the Peach Bellini Gina ink, which is a dye ink, and it does stamp beautifully, but you know, it might be the stamp, it might be something that I've previously used on there, it might be the material, it might be a whole combination of things, but nonetheless, using the Versamark often gives me a much better result. Now, this is actually not how I wanted to do them. I got all caught up in my technique that I had forgotten what I wanted to do. But that's okay, because I just want to show you everything, because everything is all good. There is no one way that we need to do these things. So I rip my little strip in half, excuse my head, trying to get placement, and then I'm going to do some blending. Now I go quite slowly because I never know how much ink is going to be on my little blending brush there, and you can build it up if you want it to be a little bit darker. But what I was wanting to do here is actually get those really sharp, stark edges, so just one way. So just for this one, for example, is the bottom right hand corner is going to be those nice sharp blended sides, and so the rest is going to fade out to the top and to the left. Now I might change the orientation of this in a minute, but nonetheless, then what I wanted to do is actually remove the mask, and I want to stamp whatever image I'm going to use. This one is the deep red tractor. Again, I cannot find this still. It's an older stamp, but it is an absolute workhorse. This has been a go-to for me, and I love it. And it's going to stamp beautifully. So I want it to come just off the edge. So you can see I have removed the mask, and then I'm going to use a deeper blue. I think this is powder blue, and I'm going to stamp the tractor off the edge into that crisp white section. So this is what I was meant to do with the birds, but I forgot, and that's okay. So once you have got a few of those ready to go, I'm going to show you how we can finish them off into cards. I'm also going to show you another couple that I did off screen as well. Now, both of these look fine. To me, the left-hand one is a little bit too bold. I was going for a really soft, low blend card. So working with these ones, this is the Gina K Master Layouts. I want a little bit of detail because these cards are beautiful and relatively simple. I want the stitched borders. You might have a scalloped border. You might have decorative scissors that you can cut along the edge with. You might have edging dies that you could go all around with. Just something to give it a little bit more, but I don't want it to be too distracting. And you can see that I made sure to include where that blends. So I've gone around so that you can still see that white edge on the bottom right hand side. Again, the bird, not quite what I was intending, but absolutely still very usable. So I'm going to use this one. And in the Master Layouts too, there is one that has the stitching, and then there is another rectangle that is just honestly a fraction bigger than the one that has the stitching, and this is a plain rectangle, but although you could absolutely cut this out using just like a trimmer, it is very, very handy and luxurious to be able to cut out the matting layer to the stitch layer. Right, now we are moving on. I wanted a matting layer that was going to match the colours in the blues, but I didn't have any cardstock. There are matching cardstocks, of course, to all of Gina K inks, but as I said, I don't know the colours that I used, and so I'm really just guessing. I'm making my own cardstock by just colouring this in, and this is going to create a matting layer. I'm going to use the same ink that I stamped with. Again, I think this is the powder blue. Not that it really matters. And I didn't even look what the blue and the green inks were. It was truly just residual ink that was left on my blending brushes. So I just really am using a blue to coordinate. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. Coming back into these summer birds, this is called the Layered Summer Bird Stamp Set. If you want to look it up and see if you can find it, it's absolutely gorgeous. And these layer together beautifully. There's a more solid layer that goes underneath, and then there's this more open layer. And the more open layer works really well if you're not doing the layering. So, you can do it both ways. Absolutely both ways would be stunning, but I wanted to be able to see all of that color behind the bird too. Then I'm actually going to use the sentiments in this stamp set are beautiful. Again, probably one of the reasons why I love this one, and I'm going to keep it around, but it's just a really nice little delicate thinking of you that I can pop up the top. I'm going to pop some double-sided tape around just the center there, and then I was either going to use some gold twine or some gold thread, but the twine is actually going to work pretty good. Depending on if you want a more bulky card or a more flat card, the twine here is going to work fine. It's just something, a little bit of extra texture, a little bit of extra color. I'm just doing not even a bow, I'm just actually going to do a plain knot. And again, I think these are gorgeous, simple, beautiful, low blend cards, but you do want to have that little bit of that little element that gives it that wee pop. And for me, it's going to be the twine, that extra little bit in piece. And then I always use my reverse tweezers. This helps me out all the time with those sorts of things where it's a little bit fiddly, having my fingers in there. I use my reverse tweezers to hold it while I tie down the second knot. So that's a little handy tip if you need it. And then just to combat the twine on the background, I'm using some 1mm foam tape. Again, this is just to even out that back so that I don't end up with that lumpy back behind there. And then because placement is important, as I said, the matting layer is just a fraction bigger than the other layer. I really do want to have good placement. So I pop some liquid glue on the back of my foam, and this gives me the ability to move it around. It sort of takes away the stick of the foam, which is very, very strong, but makes it so that I can move it around. Then it's just going onto a plain white card base. This one is 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. And this is just, this was a really, really quick card to create, but I like this. This is absolutely gorgeous. Moving on to the gorgeous little tractor. Again, the matting layer that I cut out is just a fraction bigger, barely bigger, but the blues all look like they work. For this one, I'm going to use the Gina K Big Birthday stamp set. Lots of different birthday, because that's one of the most popular cards that I make. Obviously, I tend to make a lot of birthday cards, but I'm in a huge need of sympathy cards at the moment, which is not great, but family have been requesting them. I am well out of them, so you will have seen me create a few recently, and I do kind of create to demand. Obviously, birthday cards and things are fun to make, but also there's a need for other types, and so I shall create where the need is. And then this one, again, I'm going to put the 1mm foam on the back just so it gives it a tiny bit of dimension, not too much at all. And then this is a really easy card. I think this could go to lots and lots of different people and lots of different age ranges, most importantly. Now, here is another one I tried. The blending, I went really too hard on the blending, again, because I hadn't tried my blending brushes. And then I did some water flicks on it, and I didn't necessarily love the water flicks, but actually we're still going to use it because, you know, I kind of moved it to the side and was like, shall I ditch this? Will I end up using it? But let's just use it. Let's make it into a card because we can make anything work. It doesn't have to be the original idea that we thought. I am taking some double stitched rectangles die. Again, really simple card, and I want to jazz it up a little bit by using those double stitched lines. I use some mint tape, which is just a low tack tape, to run it through, hold it in place. And then I've got the plants and vases. This is an old set from Old to New. Again, I'm really sorry. This one is also discontinued. I think it's still available on the Old to New website, so I will link that one down below. But I know that it's really hard. This is one of my favorite stamp sets, and it's a stamp and die set, and it is well worth the money. But anyhow, as I said, it's an oldie and it's really hard to come across. So moving along, I've got a little matting layer that I have cut here as well. This is going directly behind it, and then I'm going to use some little burlap ribbon, again, just for a little extra element onto some really simple, gorgeous cards. So a little bit of blending, a little bit of masking, and then just stamping down your image. These are really quick, easy cards to create, and it's really fun. You can use whatever stamps, you can go with whatever color schemes you would like, and try to worry less about your ink blending and about things being perfect, because we can always make it work. A couple of little finer details and it will distract anyone's eye from any imperfect ink blending that you think you may perhaps have. So here are the 4 cards that I have created today. I also used one with the Botology from Andy Skinner, those gorgeous stamps as well. And this one, I didn't even put a sentiment on it. It was just a little gorgeous wraparound, and I think it could be used for lots of different occasions. These are really hard to come across now because of Creative Expressions disappearing, so I don't even have any links for this one at all. I apologize for all of that, but nonetheless, let me know which one you like best in the comment section down below and give this a go. I shall see you in the next video. Thanks, bye.